I'm a guy that's 24. Each day I build some more. I like episode 7 and episode 8. I'm Rich Boy J. Hello boyos, Rich Boy J here back in with another video, and this is going to be the Starkiller base mock build series update number 25. And this is an update that came out a lot later than it should have. This is actually the first update I've done since I saw episode 9, and I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I just didn't really want to build much after I saw that movie. I'm mostly over it at this point. We are moving along with the process of this mock, and I think this is actually a very special episode because this is actually the last time you're going to see this build, like this half of the build, as it is right now, pretty much until the very end of it. And I'll explain why a little bit later in the video. But before we get into too much of that, I do want to give a very special thanks to those of you who donated via the live stream. So shout out to today's list. We got Kult of Christiansen, of course, Owen Tomlinson, Wil R, and Cosmic Brick 44. I sincerely appreciate you guys' contributions. It helps so much with making this mock a possibility, and I really can't thank you guys enough for that. So if you guys aren't tuning into the live stream, I certainly urge you to do so. It's a great way for you to not only see the mock early, but to also just have a good time with some boyos, talk Star Wars. What more could you want than that? But in regards to this mock, like I was saying, basically, after this video, I'm going to be transitioning into a new section of the mock, and that pretty much prohibits me from having most of this displayed. I'm going to have to basically store it away, flip the backside of the mock around, and then that will allow me to kind of build on that and expand into the other sections of the mock, namely the inside of the base, the other side of the base, which is going to be oscillator building, the trench run, the forest where Rey and Kylo fight. So many things to be built, and I am definitely up to the challenge. So that's enough talking. Let's go ahead and jump right into the video. As I mentioned earlier, today's episode is going to be mostly about just finishing up this half of the mock, which involves the minifigs. So unfortunately, still haven't quite decided what I want to do with these gaps here, but I did get an order in to fill in the minifigs that are going to be right here. That's actually part of these 3 packages. I also went ahead and picked up some General Huxes to cap off the missing officers up top. So you'll see this first package here, we got those Hux hats. What I actually ended up finding out was rather than just buying the General Hux that comes with the coat and the hat, it was cheaper to actually get the General Hux from the First Order Heavy Scout Walker set and then just buy the hat separately. It actually ended up being like 30% of what I would have paid had I instead just tried to buy all Hux figures with the coat and hat. So we got, I think, like 6 or 7 Huxes here. That's really all I needed to finish up the officers on the stage. Clear that out of the way. And this package was easily the most expensive. I think we got like 30 or so First Order Stormtroopers here. So look at that. We got them all in here. I'm actually super happy that the seller had these mostly intact and connected. Assembling minifigures actually takes quite a bit of time. Obviously, some of the helmets popped off in transit, but since most of these are good to go, I'm just going to go ahead and place these figures as well as the ones on the stage, and I'll catch right back up with you guys. And just like that, we have this square of figures completed. It's looking pretty good. I'm glad to have this section filled out. Still not really sure what I want to do here. Like, I'm probably just going to bite the bullet and get those blue First Order officers just to put in there. I didn't really want to have to buy that many more of those, but I think to really just get that out of the way, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to do it. Hopefully they aren't super expensive. The other thing I was able to do is fill in the Huxes on the stage, but there's a slight issue. Not really an issue so much as I just forgot to get a few of them that I need. The mistake I made was actually kind of a stupid one. Basically, whenever I lined up a bunch of them on the stage, I had a few stand-ins. Ones that were the officers, but not the specific ones I needed to be on the stage here. So you can see there are a few of them that actually still don't have the coat. When I ordered the new ones, I just counted the empty spaces, but I didn't actually inspect the ones that were there. I think I have to buy like at least 3 more Huxes, which isn't a huge deal. Like the figures weren't super expensive to get, especially with the workaround I figured out to not order the expensive hux, but instead get the cheap one and just buy the hat with it. But that's going to have to be something that I do. Those are both just minor things, though. I think for now, I'm ready to just move on from this section of the MOC. You can see it's looking pretty complete. And now we're going to go ahead and work on the interior section on that side, because that is literally the last thing we have to get done. So let's go ahead and dive into that. All right, as according to plan, I threw together this trash compactor room to kind of be, I guess it's kind of an Easter egg room. It's not something you actually see in Starkiller base, but it is something that is referenced. They have tossed Phasma into the trash compactor, so you can see her chilling there amongst the trash. And this is actually really fun to me. Like, I loved incorporating a lot of those snot brown details into the wall. Just kind of gave it like a rusted out, nasty look. It was really very influenced by the trash compactor we see on the Death Star. In fact, rather than making that brown, I just decided to make it dark gray, which I felt was more consistent with First Order colors. So in terms of the actual wall design, I just looked at clips from the film in episode 4 on the trash compactor, and that actually went a long way in kind of helping me figure out exactly what I wanted to do with this room. It is somewhat fully lit. I realized when putting the lights, that one in over here on this side actually doesn't work, so at some point I have to take this room out and fix that, but I think it still looks fine. Like, it doesn't look too dim by any means. And there's actually a lot of fun stuff hidden in here. Got an R2 body right there. We got it's actually kind of bright. I don't know if you guys can even tell, but that's Bulio's head. RIP my dude Bulio. Like, all he wanted to do was win the war, and he paid the ultimate price for it. So shout out to Bulio. First Order has disposed of his head. I also threw a skeleton in the back there. It's kind of hard to see, but you can see it behind Phasma right there. Obviously, this is not the first time the First Order has disposed of someone in the trash, or there was just some maintenance worker who got caught down here and no one ever found him. But yeah, I'm super happy with the way this came out. A lot of this was just kind of throwing random pieces that may or may not look like junk into this, which made it actually very easy to build and very fun to build. Like, you didn't really have to pay too much attention to, like, oh, can this piece go here? Does this look right next to each other? Because it's essentially just a bunch of junk. You could literally just throw a bunch of pieces in there, and it all flows together actually pretty well. It looks random enough. So I was very happy with the way this came out, and this might be my favorite room so far that I've done. I don't know. The cool thing about these interior rooms is they are modular, so I can take this out whenever I want, mess around with it, modify it, add more funny things into it. And what that means is if I think of jokes down the line that I might want to do here, or if at some point I just want to keep these rooms intact after the MOC is done, I do have those options. So if we actually go ahead and move up a level, you can see that I put some greebling in the area between the ceiling on that floor and the floor on that level. Just to kind of give you an idea of like a cross section, right? Like, obviously there might be some machinery or supports or whatever in the ground right there, but this is a very funny room, I think. So before I get into the obvious joke that's going on here, I did want to highlight that there are a lot of lights in here, and I'm super happy with the wall pattern. This is actually something that I got like directly from the film, and it's actually a pattern I'm going to have to be building a lot for Starkiller, like once we move into the areas of the base that are going to be on that side of the MOC. But I don't know, it just looks really good to me. I like the red lights kind of poking through there. I think those came out super well. Very happy with that. One of the things that was kind of difficult about this section in particular was just getting this like angled section, because it comes out, right? Like, it comes towards you, and then it kind of has to blend seamlessly with the top there. And just looking at it, there are no visible hinges actually built into this. So there are a lot of things going on behind the scenes, per se, to get this to work. And I'm actually just so happy with the design, especially because, I mean, it's pretty simple design, and I know it's one I'm going to have to repeat a lot. One of the other things I wanted to take note of is this section right here. So you can see those white like stickers right there are actually just things I cut out from a Lego sticker sheet. So technically it's still purist, right? Right? But I actually put those there to kind of represent the lights that are in the, I don't know what you'd call that, basically like in the doors on Starkiller base. I can actually pull up a picture right now. And you can see that, yeah, there's just those lights that are in there. So I figured, why not try to replicate that with some sticker sheet pieces. And I think it actually came out pretty well. So that's why that's there. I did like some slope, reverse slopes techniques in there to kind of represent the door. It has that very iconic Star Wars door split, like diagonally right down the middle. So I actually like that quite a bit. Over on this side is just a plain wall, and this is actually something that took me a while to figure out how I wanted to do this room, because I realized, like, you know, I actually, like, when I first thought about this room, I wanted to make it a hallway of sorts, but then I realized I don't have space that way or on that side to really make it an actual hallway, so I figured I'd have a door that's closed on this side, and then the wall would just kind of end. So you'd imagine there'd be something like in the base, quote unquote, on that side. And this actually leaves me some room to potentially like have this actually continue into the room on the next side. Like, I don't know if I'll do it, but it at least gives me an opportunity to perhaps have like these two rooms link up in some way and have like the hallway on the other side be the reverse side of the door. So I don't know. We'll see how I feel about that. But let's go to the obvious joke here. So we got Mickey Mouse, the ambassador for Disney, and he has a box with a bunch of papers on the floor, and he is tossing them down into the trash compactor. You can see there's a big stack of papers right there. So I was trying to figure out what I wanted this to be. I wanted to actually just write like George Lucas's sequel ideas on the box, because Disney basically took those and threw them in the trash, and I thought that was kind of funny. I also was considering writing like expanded universe on the box that's sitting there and having it be that, because obviously Disney made the expanded universe not canon. Just funny jokes, you know, not anything to really take personally, just having some fun with Star Wars and the Star Wars community in general. So we'll see where that goes. I'd love to take ideas for what you guys think should be on that box. I can only imagine what you guys might come up with, but definitely let me know what you think would be a funny thing to have Mickey Mouse just throw it straight into the trash, going down into the trash compactor. I think the ceiling of this room up top looks really good. There's that pipe that's going through it, which I thought was a pretty nice detail. There's lights actually in the foreground, so like right here, obviously, but then there's also lights coming, like poking out behind there, which was actually just done because that's how it is in the film. Like, there's lights in both of those areas, so I wanted to be, you know, as accurate as possible. And what that really contributed to was just a really bright room here, and those red lights coming out of the wall, I think those just look freaking awesome. So really, that's what we got for the interior here. And before we went to the end of the video, I did want to just give you guys one last overview of this half of the MOC. It has been such a long time coming. There have been some delays along the way, but I'm just so incredibly happy with how this MOC looks. This is obviously not the end of the MOC. I still have much more to build, but this is the end of this half of the MOC, at least for a very long time. What my plan is going to be is to basically flip the big stage section around. I'm keeping that mostly intact and built just because it's so huge and I really don't have anywhere else to just have this sit for a while. And the other section of the MOC is going to be so important to kind of line up with it. It'll actually be really helpful just having that as kind of a reference point. But this platform where all the figures are, it's mostly going to be gone. I'm going to basically stack this up, store it away, and basically leave it until the end of the tenure of this MOC. And then, of course, when the MOC is done, I'll do one long video so you guys can get an entire view of this MOC. But the reason I'm doing this is just because of space. Like, I don't have enough room to keep all this intact in this room and continue building and adding on to this MOC. Like, you can see this MOC pretty much takes up almost this entire room. So some sacrifices have to be made. I'm going to be very disappointed to not be looking at this section of the MOC for a long time. But I know in the end, once I pull it back out, it'll just bring back lots of memories. It'll be something to look forward to. And it also just gives me the opportunity to move on to something new-ish in terms of this build. Like, we're really going to start going all in on like the interior of the actual base. There's going to be a big hangar. There's going to be the big Snoke room. There's going to be lots of other funny Easter egg rooms, lots of other rooms you actually saw in the film. So there's just so many things to be excited about when it comes to this MOC. And I just wanted to give you guys one last look. You'll even notice I actually took the porgs off of it. The porgs have pretty much been there since I've had most of the stage built, but I figured as one last kind of view of the MOC, I'd let you guys see it without the giant Easter eggs in the way. But like I said, it's been a long time coming. I'm super happy to move forward. And man, that is a lot of minifigs. That is so many minifigs. But I love this MOC. I love this MOC so much. And I'm super excited to be moving forward into different parts of this MOC. So let's go ahead and go to the end of the video. And that's going to finish up the video today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comment section what you think of the MOC so far. It has been such a long time coming and so refreshing to finally be like, we're done with this half of the MOC. I'm just not going to look at it for a really long time. We're going to move on to the interior of the base. And I think you guys are really going to get a kick out of some of the things I incorporate into it. I've actually already begun designing some of like the wall elements and just the scenery elements inside the base on that side. So I'll have a lot to actually show you in next week's update in terms of that. But that's all I got for you guys this week. If you like what I do, go ahead and support the video by hitting the like button, support the channel by smashing that subscribe button, and I'll be back again very soon.